All right, guys, welcome back to Brand Builder TV, right? Where we want to teach you and show you and bring people on that are actually doing it now, have done it and already doing it, and the difference between branding in 2020 versus 2004. What a big difference. And learning how to rise above the noise in your industry. Because remember, it's not what you do, but it's how you do it. That's so vitally important. And I am so excited for this episode. I've known this lady for a few years now, and when I tell you that she is the definition of monster mode, it is an understatement. And I don't typically read bios, because we'd like to just jump right in and keep it very organic. But because of her resume and because of what I know about her in her life, I don't want to skip a beat. And she very, very, very much warrants this, because I know her story, where she started, where she's at today, and then she's going to share where she sees herself going in that 2020 and further along. I'm going to read this and for a lot of you people that know Monster Motivator TV, we're going to be relaunching that, and I'm going to tell you this: from 2016 to 2017, we did almost 80 episodes. You can see them on our YouTube channel, and I'm telling you this right now, and I've said this over and over and over, and I will say it in front of her. My favorite episode. It was over 2 hours long, and when I tell you a humbling story, if you think you're humbled, watch that episode. It will put things in major perspective. There's still parts to that story, Amy, that I share with people today that still stay with me. I have the chills, right? Oh. No, I do. And people need, it's so powerful. So that being said, Aimmee Kodachian, not Kardashian. She made sure she told me that when we first met. Is an author, creator, producer, director, and the host of Empowering Humanity TV show, which I was very blessed to be a part of last week. Ambassador for Peace, keynote speaker, special liaison officer for Women's Federation of World Peace USA, the founder of the Negotiator Mind program. We're going to talk about that. Amy was born and raised in Lebanon, where she lived 13 years through the 1975 Lebanese Civil War. She escaped death many times and was living with no hope or opportunity. And if you think, if that paragraph right there, go back to the show and she will bring you right back there. Master storyteller. That's why we connect. Amy deeply believes that God saved her life and brought her to the United States for a very good reason. She is determined to use the opportunity she has been given to inspire and help humanity around the globe see light through the darkness. Love that. We will share all your information, and we will also put it in the notes. So Amy, that being said, welcome to the show, and thank you so much for being here.
Well, it is my pleasure being here. Thank you so much for having me.
I love it. And thank you for inviting me on. So your TV show, which you launched a few months ago, I believe?
Yes. Well, I had a TV show for almost 3 years, but I changed the name and a new way of doing things. Now I have audience. This is my second recording when you came in to Las Vegas to record last week.
Right, Empowering Humanity TV, and I was on your first show up in LA, and yes, also in Las Vegas, but now she literally has a live audience. It's that Oprah Winfrey feel, right? It really is. It's absolutely, it was electric. It was absolutely electric, and I loved the themes that you came up with. And like I said, you ever want somebody for another theme, don't hesitate. I will.
You're always welcome. You know that. I really admire you. I love your message. I love to have you. Your energy is just contagious. Beautiful. I love to share you with others.
Thank you.
Yes.
So I want to talk about, well, first of all, is there anything else you want to add to that bio?
No, it's
Okay.
fine. It's not about me. Enough about me. Let's see how we can serve.
Okay.
Thank
So
you.
what we like to talk about here, what we love to share is how much business has changed in the branding and the marketing world, right? In the last really 10 years. If you really think about it, the last 8 to 10 years, the evolution has been by the second. And I share this story from stage, and it's funny, we were talking about this before we jumped on. And see, Amy and I are big believers that we want to enhance our weaknesses so we can run with our strengths. So we're both master storytellers. But when it comes to the technical world, we'd love to be able to give that to somebody else.
Yes.
I remember I was at, about a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, I was at the Geek Squad. And I had a question about my phone. And my phone was, I don't know, probably about less than a year old. I give it to the girl. She looks at and I asked, oh, I wanted a case. I needed a new case. She looked, this is less than a year old. She looks at my phone, she goes in the back, and all of a sudden I hear like 2 other girls giggle, right? And they come out and I go, what's the matter? She goes, we don't carry these cases anymore. This is old. I go, no. This, right there, this is how fast, right? Evolution
Yes.
is happening. And I believe this, Amy, and I want to get your take on this. Life makes the rules, right? We don't make the rules. And life says the evolution train is leaving with or without you. The question is, are you getting on? It's going to run you over, right? In business. So I want to share with us your thoughts and what you've seen in the last 8 to 10 years in the business world, particularly the digital world when it comes to branding and marketing.
Oh, I mean, I could tell you, it's unbelievable, unbelievable. When I started, I launched my book end of 2006, and it was like, if you're an author, it's a big deal. Now everybody can be an author, which is a great opportunity. The opportunity we have right now, it's amazing. Everyone have the chance to really share their knowledge, wisdom, insights with everybody, because we all go through sometimes the same journey, but we have a different experience, and then we can catch it from different perspective. So we share with each other, and we're growing faster right now because we are able to share our knowledge with each other and see it from a totally different perspective. Like I said, it is more about getting out there now, just putting yourself out there. Before it was in kind of like you're taking one step at a time. It was a system we had. Now it's no longer a system. It's basically what you make of the system we have. You know, before it was like, okay, do book signing. You want to do a seminar or something, you get the people from book signing to go to your seminars, and then to be coached by you and get your programs or whatever it might be. Now it's wide open to share your wisdom with others. It is not just about who's buying, who's getting your book, is who's getting to know you. You have the opportunity to come on live Facebook anytime. You don't have limitation. You're not waiting for a book signing to happen in order to meet people. You know, you can meet people any minute, any second. It's just a matter of how aggressive you are, how much you want to really deliver your message, why you want to deliver your message. Are you doing it all the way? Do you have something powerful to share that you don't want to hold back from the universe? You want to share it with others? Because every day I wake up in the morning, I say, how I'm gonna serve humanity today? What can I do to serve humanity? If it was 2005, 2006, I have to plan it, and I have to get the book signings, and I have to do this, and the radio interviews. Now you don't have to wait for anything.
I love that. So it just really the times we're living in, a great way I love to put it is, there's no more gatekeeper, right?
There's no more. Yes, it's wide open. The knowledge is wide open. They used to call The Secret, and Bob Dolly, Doyle, he was on my show, and he have it now, no more secrets. There's no more secrets anymore. And we all have the opportunity to learn from each other and grow. And the more we learn from each other, the more the consciousness in the world is growing. We are connecting with each other in a way that never happened before. People from different countries are connecting. People sharing their struggles, and then some other people sharing with them how to overcome their struggles. You know, we're helping each other. We're helping each other in a way never happened before. I tell my husband all the time, what a lucky time we're born, or even experiencing right now, that mom and dad, they didn't experience that. And we're really right where the shift is happening. Awakening is happening, because we are able to share. There's no more secrets, you know. And it's just how much you really want to take advantage. I don't like to say that, but how much you really want to grab the opportunity
and leverage,
and really get out there and deliver your message.
And in today's world, and I'll share my thoughts on it. In today's world, how important you believe, and when you talk about a shift, right, from, and I just used the year 2004, it just pops in my head, but the shift from 2004 to 2020 with just your personal brand. Now, no matter what business you're in, what kind of shift and change and leverage do you see in how important your personal brand is today?
Okay, so before I had businesses, before I even wrote my book, it was all about your logo. Now it's all about your picture. How people remember you by your picture. It's not by your logo anymore. It's about who you are. It's about your impression. It's about your message. That's what your brand is. It's not your logo. You know, it's who you are and your picture. There's a huge difference. We used to have to put on the news, on the letterhead, the logo and everything. We still could use it. It's not like we can't use that. But if people want to connect with you now, they want to know who's Dave is all about, what he stands about. How can I learn from him? Who's Amy? How can I can participate in her message, with her message, in order to deliver my message? So now it's about connections, no more about logos, really. And your picture does tell the story. Your picture tells your story, and it tells me who you are. And the colors that you use for your branding, it represents what you like. I really truly believe in colors, because colors sometimes they could reflect to your personality, you know, and it will tell the people whether they like this color or not. They could see you through your color that you're using. You know, they could see you, you know, where you're coming from. Are you deep? Are you just fun? Are you, no matter what you are, you have some type of message and some type of a different delivery. And people could relate to, want to connect with you on that. You'll be surprised how much the color reflect on you.
I love that. I love that you went there, because it's such a practical, thing to talk about, right? But I think it's also really overlooked in certain personalities, right? So for me, that's my world. Like I could sit with my graphic designer for hours, right? And do all that. But there's also personalities that hate to do that, right? So it's so important though, because here's what I believe, and I know that you believe this as well, is look, if you have any type of social media platform, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever it is, whether you like it or not, you're a global brand. You're a global brand.
I agree.
Now, right, what are you going to do with that? And I love that you went there because it is so overlooked that people just don't think that it's that important, but it just connects and shares with who you truly are. So if that's not your world, if that's not your wheelhouse, if surround yourself with those people like we do with the tech people, right? We surround ourselves with those people so they can help us with our computers and our phones. And
yeah, you know what I noticed too? I noticed with myself, I noticed that, and other people, I noticed with them too, what's happening, even with us, we're growing so fast because what we're doing, we're every time we're sharing, we're growing ourselves. And sometimes even my color jumps around, you know, because I'm in different place and in a different message and different level. And I could see myself changing a lot. Like the technology is changing so fast, we are changing with it, and sometimes it's hard to really catch it and say, well, this is it, this is my color, this is what I'm doing. And I see a lot of people are struggling with that, including myself, because like I said, I find my color, this is it, and then I'm bouncing different colors sometimes. So this is the only thing I could see, but that's a good sign because that tells me that I'm growing.
absolutely.
I'm not staying where I'm at. And if you're struggling with that, you're growing. And it's, you must grow in order to go somewhere. You must grow. And if you're not growing and outgrowing what's happening, you cannot keep up with it. So be okay with yourself if you're changing a lot, if things has to change. It's just making you stronger and growing. And I got my TV show from a small studio behind the scene into on television, you know, studio, and now with audience. If I didn't allow myself to grow, I will stay where I'm at. It is uncomfortable. It is not easy. But who said growth is easy?
I love that.
Who promised that? So it doesn't have to be uncomfortable to get comfortable.
Yeah, you need to become that person, right?
Yeah.
To meet that that next level and get there. And the other thing that it's a great segue that you just created is now we're talking about logos and colors and connecting your flavor. Now the other thing that a lot of people run from, and the whole reason I put together a 90-day brand builder bootcamp is because your message, your story, right? In today's world, I explain it this way: your vulnerability is your credibility. People will see that you fell down, got back up, dusted yourself off, and moved forward, right? People want to know that. They want to know. When I speak from stage, my intro is built and sold 3 companies in 3 different industries, but also around. Everyone in Q&A wants to know, what happened? How did you crash to that?
Well, how would you relate to 99.9% of humanity if you don't allow yourself to be humbled and allow yourself to be share the moments that you were down and you pick yourself up? How I am gonna relate to you if I don't have that? In the beginning, you said about Oprah. She shared her story. You know, she shared her story, and people related to her even more. You know, when she, you know, humbled herself and shared her story. We can relate to each other if we're perfect, you know. And well, you know, we're born perfect the way we are. We're born not to be perfect, actually, and it's okay. It's okay. This is what makes you who you are.
I don't know if you remember this, but when I did my book launch in 2016 and I came onto your show in LA and I shared some of my story, there was a part in that where there was a gentleman by the name of Tommy who came into my life and really changed my life early on. And when I was sharing some of those stories, part of my story was I said I was literally shaken in fear. And at the end, when the cameras went off, I remember you said to me, I don't know if you remember this, you said, that was my favorite part, because you now showed a part of you that a lot of people might not think is there from your appearance, right?
Yes, because you're already in different place right now. And some people might look at you or look at me and say, oh, it's too far for me to be in that place. Well, no, it's not too far. We were in your place, and that's what we want to here, give you hands to pull you up and to be where we're at now. We had to go, walk the road that you're walking through, and that's what we're sharing here. We're sharing the insights that we learned. We have to share the humble. That was the most beautiful thing you shared with me when you said that, because you look strong, you look all together, and someone might look at you and say, well, he have it all. He have the energy, have the confidence. How can I compete with him? How can I can be like him? But when you shared with us that you were afraid and shaking and everything, then you related to someone who's shaking when they're watching you now.
That's such a great point. And when you shared that with me, I didn't realize, right, that was such a connection.
That's powerful.
And I still take that with me. Here's another thing that we could share that's real world between the both of us is when we, and I did this in the intro with you, is I remember clear as day when you introduced yourself, Aimmee Kodachian, not Kardashian, right? And that's part of branding, because that's what people remember. I still remember that, and I get a kick out of it, right? And every time that I share that with somebody when I talk about you, they laugh, they giggle, but trust me, they take that with them. So the next time, if they ever run into you or they see you, that's branding.
They're gonna remember.
That's branding. It's like the Monster Motivator War, right? It's people, as long as it's authentic, right? As long as it's your flavor.
And it did come authentic. I haven't been using it. I don't think I used it when you came this time, but I used it before. But I'm gonna remember that. I'm gonna start using it again.
You ready?
Because I don't mean to put anybody down, but I'm just trying to tell you, because so many people, they think, are you related to Kardashian? Well, no, I'm not related to them. So that's why I say I'm Aimmee Kodachian, not Kardashian.
Yeah,
so it ended up being
So here's the other thing that I say. That's so great. Here's the other thing I say. Here's when you know your brand is succeeding, when other people share your story, right? When I share that part of it, it's never once have I not had somebody giggle. They all giggle, but that, right, is what and if you are going to add it in on a side note, add it in now, because Kylie Jenner just sold 51% of her company for $600 million. I didn't know that. It's
and you know what? I came home from California after I interviewed you. I shared your story with my husband. And he was interested to see your segments, because I told him what you've been through and then all that. So when he connected with you, I think you could tell my husband is like, really want to get to know you. And he was so interested where you came from, and he loves your energy. We both love your energy. And, my husband, it's a little bit picky, doesn't just, not anybody just moves him, but you moved him because you were humbled. You told where you came from, and he's like, oh, that's nice to hear, to see someone blossoming and now it's helping others. That's inspiration right there.
And that, right, is branding. When
it is branding.
Right. When
I want to get to know you. Yeah, I want to. The most powerful branding is to get to know who you are.
Yes.
People wants to know your story. They want to know where you came from, what you stand for. That is the branding right there. You cannot pay price on that. If you want to go around it, you're not doing it authentically.
Right.
You have to do it authentically. People feel you. People see you, and they understand if you're coming from the heart or you're coming from technical stuff. That's all old marketing. The new marketing is who you are, what you stand for, your heart, and you really, if you're authentic or not, that's what people relate to.
I love it. And now, right, we went down that practical road. Let's give them now a blend of some personal development. And I want, you're the perfect guest for this because I know your story. When you get to the point where you can share your story, your vulnerability, how does that make you feel in a freedom aspect, in a personal way? In other words, I believe when you hide from your story, you start to diminish your self-image, right? Inside. The subconscious says, I don't want anybody to know that. I'm scared. So you're not going to be able to be authentic and be free to be me. So because you can share your story, right? Because you are so vulnerable, share with the audience how that makes you feel inside.
Oh, it gives me the freedom, the freedom I need to. There is nothing blocking me anymore. You know, I had businesses, like I said before, but no one knew I have only 4th grade education. And I did not know English when I came to the United States. So I speak 2 different languages, Armenian and Arabic, but I never spoke English. I never knew how if you spoke Arabic, I spoke English. I had to teach myself. I was hiding behind my desk. I was hiding behind. When I talk to people, when I negotiate with the big companies, I had to negotiate with big companies. No one knew that I have only 4th grade education. And it was like something I'm not willing to say it. You know, I'm not willing to say it. I'm negotiating business here. And they looked at me differently. If I have said that back then, maybe I wouldn't be doing what I was able to do. However, life is changing again. Branding is changing. No matter what you're doing, people want to know where you come from. Even when I negotiate with big companies now to have even my show on their platform or to bring someone to my show, I am proud to say who I am. I'm no longer hiding who I am. Therefore, I'm able to open my universe and welcome you to my universe.
I love that. And let me add to that. I love that. I'm gonna ride your coattails on this one because I think it's so important what you just said. And now I know there's going to be people going, how did she do that? How did she create that courage? Right? Here's what people have to understand. Your bio says that you have a 4th grade education, right? In the traditional educational realm. But what people have to understand is the reason that you have the courage to say that is because you have a PhD in the real world, right? When it comes to the real world, you have a PhD. And that's what people have to understand is, and you know, my story is left back in the 2nd grade, diagnosed with ADD, said I had a learning disorder, never graduated high school. Everyone with the degrees on the wall said I was broke, right? I'm not supposed to be here. What people have to understand is there's so many different definitions of intelligence, right? And that's why we can both stand up, put our chest out, and feel proud because we know one thing, if you have a hiccup sharing your story, here's what I say. The fact of the matter is, Amy, you were bad enough to make it through. Now it's your obligation to share that because there's people going through similar to what you went through. So it's your obligation. So I love to be able to help people break through those fear barriers. I'd love to hear your take on that.
I want to share with you one of my quotes that I share all the time. You don't have to be perfect to be beautiful and powerful. All you have to be is yourself.
I love it. It's so true.
It's yourself. You don't need anything else.
Yes.
You don't need those diplomas and everything. And I think the more technology, the more branding, the more people are coming out. We're respecting that. We respect that. And it's still some old mindset says, oh, if you don't have education, oh, they're smart, they went to college, they're very smart. In my personal opinion, everyone has something they're smart at. Yeah. Everyone, even the homeless that you see sleeping on the street, they have something unique and special, but they don't know it and they don't embrace it. That's the only difference, is they don't know how to embrace their gift. I guarantee you, I can take homeless from the street. They don't know what they're doing unless they have a mental issues, like really big time. I could pull them out and I could interview them. I could pull the best of them out and embrace what they have. The confidence will grow, and they could go serve the world instead of people put them down there because they're homeless. You know, that's the difference. The difference is the mindset, which you talk about. And I think the difference between like someone who really overcame something and someone didn't overcome something is the way they think about themselves. And I think life, I say those two words, life can either break you or make you. There is no middle. Either will break you or make you, will shut you down and take you down with it, or it makes you. Depends how much you want to fight for it. Depends how fighter you are. And you make that choice. Do life want to make me or break me?
I love that. Give us some, because of your story, what you've been able to accomplish with where you started. Give us some things that, so people just heard that, right? You can, life is going to make you or break you. How were you able to have it make you instead of break you?
Well, before I go to that, I didn't mention that I have dyslexia. And that's not just dyslexia, you read different letters. That's not, it's a severe dyslexia. So what it is, if like make you or break you, in my personal opinion, is that I had to get out of my own way. And it's not about me anymore. When I decided to write my book, when I was driving down on the freeway, and then I just had the memories where I came from with no hope, no opportunities. I was told your legs will be broken before you even drive. And I was coming from successful business meeting, a brand new car on the freeway. I took my car and stopped my car in the desert here in Las Vegas. And I broke down crying. I was crying from joy and happiness where I'm at now. And then I heard my inner voice telling me, it's not about you. It's about the story that you need to tell. It's about inspiring others. You need to write your story. I'm like, oh no, that's not happening. I'm not writing my story. I heard this is nothing to do about you or where you came from, and your story is about taking what you did and inspiring others. So I went home and I told my husband, he saw me like crying, and he said, what's going on? I said, I'm gonna write my story. And he said, well, Amy, you're running a business. I understand, because I am the entrepreneur in the family. He's the supporter. And he said, I know you're successful, but how are you gonna write the book? You never read a book in your life. How are you gonna write the book? I said, well, I have my why, and the how will appear. A year and a half later, I came and I dropped it on the table for him, my book, Tears of Hope. And how I did it is I had the courage to get my personal feelings and my personal, and it took me time to overcome, took me time to even release my book. And I released it when my grandson read it and said to me, you know, Grandma, now I'm gonna embrace every breath I take. He was 12 years old at that time. Wow. He said, I'm gonna embrace every breath I take. And I said to myself, if my grandson is gonna tell me that, this needs to be published. Because I was deciding to publish it or not. Amy, get out of your own way. We're Middle East. I'm from Lebanon, Armenian, Lebanese. We do not talk about our life. We don't talk about hunger. We don't talk about, we have so much pride and we don't talk about it. For me to write a book and have my family read it and how they're going to look at me, I took a risk, a huge risk, because now I have cousins and I have, you know, however, when I put the interest of others first, I was able to make the decision, is this gonna break me or make me?
I love that, because
get out of your own way, Amy. Get out of your own way. It's not about you, it's what you leave behind you. Because I lost many family members, and I am blessed to be alive right now. As you know, at 12 years old, my brother died to a bomb right in front of my eyes. So I understand life when you breathe, what it is. And I had to really put myself on the side and say, when I die, did I leave something behind me? I know everyone who died in my family, none of them took anything with them. None of them. What they took with them is the wisdom they shared with me. What they took with them is the love they shared with me. That's what they took with them. And what I'm gonna leave behind me, my greatest fear I had to put behind in front of me, how it's gonna happen if I die. If I die tomorrow and I don't live my purpose, what's gonna happen to that? That is my greatest fear. And if you put that in front of you, nothing can stop you. Literally nothing can stop you. You'll be unstoppable.
I love that. When your why becomes bigger than you, you become unstoppable. I love that. And once you released it and you got some of the feedback from other people and the world, how did that make you feel?
I'm gonna tell you something. Every time I had to, it's kind of like something you're gonna have to really work with it. It's not like one night you overcome it. I still had to deal with release. Okay, I did release it. Oh, did I do the right thing? I'm afraid somebody this said, this happened. But every time I received an email, and the email told me they had to forgive their mother-in-law, they have to forgive somebody, they reconnected with their family because of my book, that really made a huge difference. And every time I was feeling like that, like, oh my goodness, what did I do? When I come back to Amy, and then some email comes to me and I look at the email and I make the computer read it for me, and it just, I just hear and I say, how selfish are you thinking about yourself when this book is changing people's life? You know, that kind of reminded me every time when I was molding myself to be okay with releasing my book. That's how it made me feel. And I think when everyone brand themselves with their message and be who they are and see how they're serving others through who they are, open the universe, they are going to be surprised that how many people will come and relate to you. How are you how you connect with others and what you leave behind you. I have another quote, is that we don't have a choice when we leave this earth, but we have a choice what we leave behind us. And I always have to remind myself about that. It's ongoing growth. It's nothing like you say, okay, I grew and I'm fine. I released my book and I'm fine. You need to work on you while you release your book and remind yourself, what did you share with the world? How are you changing people's life? Every time when somebody emails you about it, it should move you in your heart. So it is very important to stay connected with you, but yet put your ego on the side. Put your self-interest on the side and go for it. Go for it. Serve humanity. And you'll be surprised what happened in your life. And I am so surprised right now. I never thought I would be TV host, not alone to have an audience, You know, I have someone told me last time when we did the show, they told me this is gonna be big as much as Oprah's show. I'm like, okay, thank you, I appreciate that, but that's a little bit far. But you know what? Just to hear that gives you an inspiration.
It does, and one of the things that you do, and I want people to understand this and take them behind that black curtain a little bit, is you're able to break through those fear barriers because you're taking inspired action, right? We hear about hustle and grind all day long. And I believe that's the short game. The long game is the inspired action. When you find something that inspires you, right, that lights your fire, that flame will not go out. Doesn't mean you're not going to get tired. Doesn't mean you don't have to get the batteries rejuiced. That doesn't.
Tell me about that.
But it means the flame is not going to go out. That's what that means, and that's what you do. Yeah.
There is no growth without pain. Right. There is no growth. If somebody tells you you are gonna get somewhere and this level or this level, is every level you grow, it's gonna be different kind of pain and get different kind of gain. Yeah. And then as you grow, you're gonna, it's like, you know about muscles, as we stretch our muscles, it's gonna be hurt. If you're not hurt, you didn't exercise. Right. If you don't go through the obstacles and the feeling the things that you're fighting to get, if you don't go through that, you're not gonna really appreciate it. In the end, this is what you appreciate. In the end, I look back, when I go through the struggles, then I look back at the time that when I was down, at the time when I want to cry, when I'm asleep, how am I gonna do this? At the time that my husband held me back and he said, you could do it. At the time that it was hard for me to stretch myself. And when you make it, then you look at yourself and say, wow, I really did overcame this. You know what I mean? This is where the self-confidence comes from. Self-confidence doesn't come from only when you reach something. And, you know, it's like, you know, when you get fame in 15 minutes, you can drop down in 5 seconds. Yes. Right? Yes. But when you get fame because you worked on yourself and you had to go through whatever you needed to go through, you grow. You grow with it. Your self-confidence will grow, like, okay, I overcame this. I earned this. I paid my dues to be here. You know, I wasn't handed this. So there is a beauty. There is a beauty in the struggling of that. There is a beauty of the mother when she gives birth. You know, there is a beauty in that pain. There is a beauty in carrying the baby for 9 months. If you carry your message, it's the same thing. When you give birth to that, then you're going to carry your message and you're going to run with it and show it to the world. You know, I did not get handed anything. My husband is not an entrepreneur. He's a beautiful human being. He's a great supporter, but he doesn't like to get involved. He helps me in certain things. I'm so happy what he helps me with it. He leaves me alone. And sometimes he cries for me. Sometimes he cries for me. He sees me 7 days a week. I'm working. I'm so blessed to have him. I'm sitting watching a movie or something. I have a phone call to respond to, and he allows me to respond to when we're watching a movie, and it's our intimate time. Yeah. This is so blessing, but it's not, I have somebody behind me, rich, famous, and he knows it, and he knows how to get me to where I am. I am proud to be where I am because I paid my own dues. I get to make my own decisions, my own mistakes. I earned everything I am getting. So that's where the confidence, and you open up more. So if you're going through obstacles or challenges, this is the time where you're actually gaining the wisdom that you need to share with the world. It doesn't stop, but you will know how to deal with it next time. It never stops. Even no matter who you are, if you reach the top of the top of the top, you still go through obstacles and challenges. That's not gonna stop. People have the wrong idea. They think, oh, look at you, you're speaker and you're motivator and you're not going through obstacles. No, you are, but you know how to deal with it now because you have enough experience.
It's so true. And I guess that's where really the quote growing pains came from, right? They're growing pains. And if I love to share this if you were talking about giving birth. And I always say if we were built to give up, we would all be crawling on our hands and knees, right? Because we learned to walk. Every time we fell back down, we got back up. Every time we fell down, we got back up. We didn't know the word we can't. It wasn't in our vocabulary at that time, right? So I think that's so vitally important to know. So before we jump off and is there anything that I didn't talk about that you want to share?
I think we've covered quite a bit. Just remember every day when you wake up to say, how can I serve humanity today? And that could get you out of your own way and then serve with the gift, with your special gift that you have. And it will give you the inspiration to get up. So it's no longer about you, no longer about your obstacles. Is how can I serve humanity with my special gift? And that alone can get you throughout the day and through your obstacles and the challenges and the happy time and all that. You combine all this together and end up being a beautiful way to serve humanity.
I love that. I love that. So thank you so much for taking the time,
for having me,
sharing this real world wisdom, because at the end of the day, theory just gets in the way. We want the real stuff. We want the people that have been there, done it, are currently doing. That's why I was excited to have you on. And guys, if you get any value from this, please share this and keep your eyes peeled. We're going to be sending out various clips from this episode and the actual whole episode. And we're on every platform that you think of when it comes to podcast and our YouTube channel, Brand Builder TV. And remember one thing, at the end of the day, brand loyalty is king because it maps to trust.